Yeah. After spending the morning with our team, great to be back to work. Lots of positive things to build on, and also plenty of corrections. Really looking forward to the upcoming matchup and the upcoming week of preparation. I have an existing relationship with Clark Lee, the head coach of Vanderbilt. We became friends when I was coaching at Virginia, and as he became the head coach at Vanderbilt. And so it's been fun to have a great relationship and to see the progress and the growth of their program, and the successes they're having. Um, Encouraged by our team. I like the direction we're going, and again, anxious for this week of preparation. So I'll take whatever questions anyone has.
Hey, Coach Mendenhall. Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. I'm going to get this right. I'll just, I guess, let the cat out of the bag. Will Ike return to practice this week, or is that yet to be determined?
Yet to be determined.
I guess one more. Just looking back, was this collectively the best performance of the season by the offensive line?
Hard to say. Statistically, the numbers would say so. There's always more to each story than what the numbers are. The rush yardage as well as the lack of sacks would lead you to think so. Still plenty to improve, but I think we are finding our identity, our rhythm, and the sequencing that really is helpful to moving the football. So lots of positive things there in terms of the collective group, which the offensive line is part of.
Coach, Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. I want to ask about Bryson Barnes. When you evaluated him in the offseason, I guess comparing him when you evaluated him in the offseason, what does he look like now versus when you first? Has been any significant improvements that you've seen from him?
So I was really impressed in the offseason, not only with leadership, but work ethic, and obviously the things that are apparent to everyone: the grit, the resolve, the physical toughness. Not only the physical presence, but again, the vocal leadership. As we started playing football in the spring, it's always difficult to tell as you're installing and you're working against yourselves, especially when the quarterbacks aren't live, what that truly will look like. But we knew he'd be a very capable runner. We knew that he'd be good with his legs. I would say what's probably a pleasant surprise is the accuracy and the ability he has throwing the football, and the number of different types of throws that he's making. So that continues to expand and grow in terms of our evaluation and seeing what he's capable of there, which we didn't have quite enough sample size in the offseason or the spring to tell that.
Good morning, good afternoon, Coach. AJ Salveson at Aggie Sports Radio Network. Wanted to ask about you guys' travel. You guys stop at the stadium at Texas A&M in College Station before you guys get to the hotel. Is that going to be a routine? Is that something you've always done in your 19 years as a head coach, or just stopping to stay before you guys go to the hotel to get a feel for it?
That's our typical and our preferred template, is that we travel and arrive early enough, and it's always great if the stadium is on the way to the hotel. It just is a point of reference for the team where they're not seeing the locker room or the field or the stadium for the first time when they arrive. Some trips doesn't allow that. Either police escorts aren't available, you're going through downtown traffic. The hotel might be here. You'd have to go past it to go to the stadium. And that might be another 35 or 40 minutes. Do that, then come back another 35 or 40 minutes. And so in this particular case, when we're traveling further across the country and our arrival time is a hair later than desired, doesn't make a lot of sense with the traffic and the distance in relation to where the hotel is to do it on this occasion, but that's what we normally like to do.
And I want to ask about the new athletic director, Cam Walker, being named. Did you just get your thoughts on that? And then did the committee or anybody ever come and seek your input on any of these decisions and your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Cam. I love the strategic thinking. I love the critical thinking. I love the law degree. I love the development background. I love the various positions that he's held. I love the depth and breadth that he's been exposed to in college athletics. I love the transitional nature of where Utah Valley was when he took over and what that looked like. Central Florida, similar with their transitions, and the experience of an SEC program and all the success that Tennessee has had. And yes, I was consulted. And so the process was really extensive, obviously, right? President Smith had a chance to visit with each candidate. There was a search firm. There also was a search committee, as well as there were a number of coaches that were on a separate panel. And then independent of all that, I had a chance to visit with the finalists in person. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Coach Mark Greenwood, Utah Statesman, kind of building on that. And like you mentioned, Cameron Walker has the law degree, seems to have a lot of knowledge on kind of the NIL, rev share space. Kind of curious your thoughts on that and what implication that has for Utah State athletics moving forward.
Yeah, again, I was just really excited and thrilled as I got to meet him, learn of his background. And if you consider his preparation and the current space that Utah State is in, I'm not sure there could be a better match. And so there's the things that you just mentioned, as well as a really broad range of experiences, of expertise that seem to be the most prioritized things necessary, not only at Utah State, but probably in college athletics, that he's really well prepared for. And so I think we did a really nice job in his selection.
And then just back to Vanderbilt, they have obviously a great team, but their defense is, I think, top 20 in the nation in sacks. And that's something that's kind of plagued this offensive line. What do you see the preparation like this week and things like that to be able to prepare for that and limit the damage of the Vanderbilt defensive line this week?
Well, most sacks happen on third down, and most sacks happen on third down if you're behind the chains. And that's no secret to anyone. So really against any quality team, especially on the road, or if you're an underdog, and if you just want to play quality football offensively, it's always best to be strong on early downs and have third and manageable, or better yet, not even get to third down. So in Vanderbilt, really, I think they love creating different looks each week on third down and exotics and pressures and those kind of things, and are really skilled at it. And so again, credit to them. The offenses then simply need to stay ahead of the chains.
I want to ask another question about stuff that happens off the field, because there was the recent change with the single transfer portal window. Mm-hmm. I know we asked you about this in March, and you had some concerns about more the timing of it. In the kind of 6 months since then, have you had any conversations with people in the NCAA or in leadership that have kind of alleviated some concerns about getting guys into the school in January?
So yes and no. Yes, I've had conversations and expressed the concern not only for Utah State, but any other early start semester school that begins January 5th-ish or that week. And what the intent is to mitigate. I've received no answers, no relief, and really, quite frankly, haven't been listened to. And so pretty frustrated. We've started already working with our administration. This was when it was first announced. So I like a single transfer portal window. I'm for that. But it's short-sighted, and there hasn't been relief granted to anyone that's, again, an early start school. The other schools that I think will be challenging are those in the playoffs, as it's a multi-semester sport now, which again, I'm opposed. I'd rather start earlier. But quite frankly, no one has addressed the early start. It is an academics, right? This is student athlete. And yeah, I'm pretty frustrated at the lack of attention, or quite frankly, even acknowledgement of what that might be. And we're not the only one, obviously, that's in this situation.
Do you think it'll be practical to get a large number of student athletes in, from the portal and have them involved in spring ball?
Well, it's essential. I mean, if you plan on being in the portal, the advantage, you're addressing immediate needs with the portal. To address immediate needs and do that after spring practice really is not ideal. And so, again, I think, I'm for one window. The short-sighted nature or the lack of relief or the lack of a mitigating policy to address some of the timing the schools face, I'm opposed to that.
Coach Mendenhall just had a couple of questions about Vanderbilt. First of all, Eli Stowers, tight end number 9.
And that helps. Thanks
yeah,
for
had over
I got
600
the name
yards
and the number and the position. That's great, especially on a Monday.
Yeah, fair enough. Had over 600 yards receiving last year. Leads them in receiving again this year. How much of a unique challenge, at least this season, maybe does he present for you?
A really good player, experienced, productive, and obviously returning with picking up right where he left off and even expanding. So there's a rhythm, there's a cadence between their quarterback, obviously the offensive coordinator, and targets that he knows and likes and utilizes. And so I've been really impressed. And anytime you have an inside matchup like that at tight end, for any defense, right? It's, does the linebacker match up well? Does the safety match up well? Is it a combination of both, neither, or something else? And again, the more length or the more extent you go to address that, that leaves you vulnerable elsewhere. So you just have to pick and choose.
Special teams wise, this team made 3 big plays against Georgia State with the block punt, block field goal, a pretty explosive kickoff return. I mean, how well-rounded of a team is this, and what about their special teams has flashed you from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, well-rounded and complementary. There's a reason that they're having success in their program. There's a reason that they're scoring the amount of points. There's a complementary nature to how they play, the style of play. And when you add all 3 phases, not just offense, defense, that can be a pretty dominant performance. And that's exactly what happened in their last game.
You mentioned, having the safeties and linebackers line up on the tight end. How do you feel like the guys you have match up in that matchup?
Yeah, again, as we get to know each other, even though we're focusing on the opponent and what those matchups are, I really don't spend much time on the opponent. We certainly acknowledge who we're playing, and we acknowledge their scheme, and we acknowledge the style of play. And then it really is just our execution and our fundamentals and our effort and our mindset. And that's plenty to think about. So this opponent provides plenty of challenges and a unique a set of circumstances to take on. Once we acknowledge that, it just really is about us from then on. And that's already where we are as a team.
Coach, Jason kind of asked a question already, but number 40 for them is one that big special teams play throughout the day and then win against Georgia State. What do you see out of him specifically that stands out to you, especially on the punt return that he had?
Yeah. Again, just simply the quality and the training. So really good players that are trained really well, that are put in the right position, and their use of personnel is why, again, their team is having success. So first you need to attract the personnel, which they're doing. Then you need to retain the personnel, which they're doing. Then you need to put them in the right place and then train them correctly. And he's just another example of that.
I want to ask about Nick Howell.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he was at Vanderbilt for a year there. I don't know if you can speak for him at all. If you talked to him about what it's going to be like for him to go back to Vanderbilt where he coached at.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him about it. I think that'd be best for any of you to visit with them about that. I had a chance when I stepped away at Virginia to recommend Nick to Clark and to refer him to their coaching staff. And 2 seasons actually Nick was with Vanderbilt. And so again, rather than speak for him, I think that'll be just, I'll let him speak for himself.
And then regarding their quarterback, Diego Pavia, number 2. I had to write that down as well. Just your thoughts on him. Both, he's like 73% completion percentage. Their leading rusher just seems like he's the engine of their offense to a degree.
Yeah, he's a really good football player. Obviously, a very good leader. The face, the brand, and kind of I would say the reason that there's a resurgence at Vanderbilt. Really impressed with the offensive coordinator. So the offensive coordinator in combination with their quarterback, almost in tandem, and then Jerry Kill's influence, right? There's a powerful offensive kind of trio there that immediately yielded when they left New Mexico State and came to Vanderbilt. And I would say that then kind of became this next era and this next jump of what Vanderbilt's been able to accomplish.
Coach Mendenhall, this past week was probably the defense's best performance collectively, other than you gave up 151-yard run. Otherwise, really good game. Just looking back, reflecting on that, what was it about that performance that really flashed to you?
Yeah, the execution, the physicality, the mindset, the confidence. And we have a pretty simple saying here that players play fast when they know what to do. And so coming off the Air Force week, which is a very unique opponent, but really a blessing to have played them early, the run fundamentals and the type of pad level and the mindset that it takes to play the academy, the next teams seem easier. That doesn't mean they are, but it's different. And the run fundamentals that you're able to work on, the play action and the eye control fundamentals, really, you get a nice foundation for anything that happens after that. And so I think we had the benefit of playing Air Force. We had the simplicity and the confidence that just keeps developing as our defense is gaining their identity. and manifest in that opponent. So it really wasn't in relation to McNeese State that our defense was really well prepared. They played fast, they played aggressive, they played confident, they played sound. I was really impressed. They did a nice job.
Coach Mendenhall, Trentwood with the Deseret News on Zoom.
Oh,
I'm gonna bounce around a little bit here and go back to the athletic director. And I'm curious. Obviously, you've worked with many in your career. Ideally, what is that relationship like between you and your athletic director? And do they take some of the CEO non-football responsibilities off of you, or is that just not a reality in modern college football?
it's not a reality. The athletic director has plenty to do, let alone take on any additional responsibility for football. It's reassuring, and it's great that Cam has been the administrator with the football program. That always helps because that means they're current on the relevant issues of a Division I football program, and that means an intimate knowledge if they're the sport administrator, and that really was manifest in our short visit. But again, their scope and scale of work has expanded just like the head coach has, and so the reference points that are already established, that's what's most exciting, as well as the strategic thinking, as well as the problem solving, as well as the development, as well as all the different sub policies that have already been created relative to the current landscape of college football. So again, I got super excited, and I think Utah State really did well in this hire.
And then one more for me. Before the season, you talked about just it might take time for you to get to know your team. You get a lot of new players. It might take time to figure out what kind of team you have. I'm curious now, a month in, do you have a better feel for that? Do you kind of have a feel for what this team is and what they can do?
Yeah, it's becoming apparent. This team is tough. They're physical. They're competitive. They're dynamic. They're unified. They're willing. They work super hard, and they're playing good football. And it's really fun to see them grow, develop, and be willing to take on every week the demands of our program, as well as support one another. And I'd say the greatest strength right now that's accelerated beyond what I expected is how close this team is. But we also know in our program that's facilitated by doing really hard things together, which we do, and that's built great relationships.
Hey, Coach Patrick Mayhorn from the Ag Ship. I want to ask about your punt return unit and how they graded out this past week. 8 punts, sub 40 net yards per punt for McNeese. Felt like they were really close several times to blocking punts. How did that, going back and assessing it, how do you think that unit fared this past weekend?
Yeah, each week's a little bit different based on whether we choose to return or block, or the number of safe looks we have out there based on where the opponent's field position is. But we were close on a number of blocks, 3 different occasions, pretty dang close. And we thought we had a great chance. So we were probably 2 to 4 inches away in terms of stretching out and getting a piece of the ball. Javen Jacobs doing a super nice job of fielding it regardless of where it lands, and even in traffic. And so that combination, when you send pressure and the punt is hurried, which usually takes off some of the distance, and your returner then is aggressive to go in to catch the ball, gives you kind of a nice combination of things.
Noah, hey, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Just wanted to ask you what areas of growth you feel you've seen the most from week 1 to now from the defense.
Oh, absolutely. I would say just all the guys being bought in on like a day-to-day basis. Like you can see, like as the games go on and on each day at practice, we're process driven. So we kind of focus each day on like what we can improve on. So like each game has gotten better and better. I would say, yeah, just the overall bought in process, and the guys flying around playing fast, because all the guys are learning their jobs like at a higher level each week. So I would say that's the biggest improvement.
No, Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. When I asked about the McNeese game, where it seemed like you put everything together, it seemed like the last few games you had some bright spots, but again, giving up a lot of points. Just what was like putting it all together, where really like 1 or 2 plays was about the only mistakes you ever made in the entire game. Just what was that like for you guys?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great feeling when, all 11 guys on the defensive and offensive side do their job. Because like the plays that we give up, it's kind of ourselves shooting ourselves in the foot. Like one guy's off a gap, one guy's not in the right job assignment. So like just seeing all the guys doing their job at a high level, it's fun to watch.
AJ Salveson, Aggie Sports Radio Network. This Vanderbilt offense is very high powered. They put up 42 points in the first half against Georgia State. I don't know how much you've had a chance to look at them, but want to get your thoughts on this offense of Vanderbilt.
Oh, absolutely. It's a fresh week, so we're just getting started on that. We're diving in today, and as the week go on, we'll learn more about them. But we're excited to play on Saturday.
Hey, Noah, Mark Green with Utah Statesman. This now being your second SEC opponent this season on the road. Also, both teams with prolific offenses. How does that, playing that first one a couple weeks ago now, kind of prepare you a little bit and help you out for this one this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I would just say at an overall aspect, we have an opportunity. It's another game. We got to focus on ourselves and kind of be process driven on a day-to-day basis, and just go put our best foot forward on all three phases of the game. And I feel like that's what we're going to do this week.
I mean, kind of similar to the obvious question. Just the pass game for Vanderbilt has been, they have a great quarterback. He does a lot. What's the preparation look like this week for you and your unit to kind of hone in on that pass game and try and be disruptors?
Oh, absolutely. The biggest thing is focus on ourselves. What can we take from all the previous games that we've played already? Hone those skills in, and each day being process driven. All our guys knowing their jobs at a fast, high level, and I feel like that's when we'll play our best on Saturday.
You mentioned, playing previous opponents when you played Texas A&M. They had another quarterback who's very mobile, able to run, and obviously throw really well. How much do you kind of translate what you learned playing against Marcel Reed? How much do you translate that to playing Diego Pavia, where there's a lot of crossover in their skill sets?
Oh, absolutely. Versatile quarterbacks. You have a lot more preparation as the week goes on. So just how we prepare, and all the guys have seen it now, like having a versatile QB. So we kind of have like an idea of how to game plan against it, and each day we'll work on it day to day. And Coach Howell is going to put together the game plan that we need to come out successful.
And one question regarding yourself, listed at quarterback or cornerback, starting there, now playing safety the last couple of games. I know you've played safety before, but just what's that been like for you, kind of going back and forth between a couple of defensive back positions?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I mean, I always tell Coach Howell wherever he needs me on the field, that's where I'll play. So if he sees me fit at safety, I'll play safety. If he sees me fit at corner, I'll play corner. I'm just here to help the team, help the defense, and that's what I feel like my job is to do.
Noah, one more for me. Vanderbilt had 7 plays of 25 or more yards last weekend against Georgia State. So how extra important is it this weekend to limit their chunk yardage plays?
Absolutely. I feel like every week, you as a defense, you want to limit explosive plays. So just honing in on what those explosive plays are, trying to get a beat on them and try to limit the explosive plays as a defense. That's how you win games, because, when you give up explosive plays, that's where the games are lost. So just honing in on what those plays are and, getting our reads right, and we'll be successful.
Thanks, Noah. Appreciate you.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Noah.
Hello.
Tremwood with the Desert News on Zoom. So Coach Mendenhall's talked a lot about, he just talked about how the strength of this team is you guys have really come together.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks a lot about how you guys are ready to prepare for the next game and how committed you guys are to working. I'm curious, how much does it help that you guys are winning? Does that help motivate you guys to come together and to work hard? How much easier is it to see results from what you're doing?
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things of growth, Coach Mendenhall says, is the sense of progress. So the sense of progress is winning. So I feel like that builds everyone's confidence, just as a team and as a brotherhood that we've formed since January here, really. It just, each win with the confidence kind of rises each week. So we kind of are excited on what we can do, and we know it haven't been perfect yet. So we're excited to display what we can on Saturday.
Hi, Brady. Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. It started with that Texas A&M game, making that sideline catch. You had another really nice one in the third quarter. How much confidence did you build in that game, and how much has it been building and building as the season has progressed?
Yeah, I mean, every game I feel like you got more confidence when you go into it, just because the first game, there's a little jitters, just coming into the season, what's going to be like. And then, with every game, every practice, you just kind of gain more confidence. And, Bronco always talks about what's one more rep. It was a Kobe video. So, I mean, we do it every day in practice. So, what's one more time just in a game setting?
You may have partially answered this question, but like, what's kind of gone into the not only kind of your last two games, but the offense in general has been fantastic in the last two games. What's kind of gone into that where you weren't necessarily bad in the first two games at all, but like you've really stepped up to another level as a unit in the last two games?
Yeah, I think the chemistry's just been building. Every game, like I said, we're getting more confidence every game. And, the O line just continues to show improvement. If you look at their sacks and pressures, every game it's going down. So, it all starts with them, and they're doing a great job. So I think that attributes to the past two games.
AJ Salveson, Aggie Sports Radio Network. There wasn't a lot talked about the receiver crew going into the season, but Utah State's been known to produce receivers into the league quite constantly. I want to ask about this group and what you've seen out of them. Tate and Pagan and these guys, and Noah White especially. Just as this receiving crew, what have you seen from them personally?
Yeah, I mean, we just continue to build so much coming in January together. We're a group of guys that didn't do much the past couple years, whether it be at different schools or some of the guys were already here. But, I mean, we were a group that wasn't really known. So going into the season, it was our plan to, become known as a receiver group and go out and perform the way we know we can.
Mark Green with Utah Statesman. Obviously, Vanderbilt has high-power offense, averaging, I think, 49 a game. Obviously, that's pressure on the defense, but how much do you feel that on the offensive side as well, kind of feeling like you got to go toe-to-toe with them a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to complementary football. So if defense goes out there, gets a stop, it's our job to go down and score. If they get a turnover, it's our job to go down and make it right. If they're getting turnovers and getting stops and we're not helping them out, then it's kind of our fault as well.
Braxton Barnes putting up some pretty incredible numbers so far. What has it been like being in the huddle with him and on the field with him at the quarterback?
I mean, he's just a great leader. He's a guy that's done it before at his time at Utah. So, just having an older guy that's been there before, when stuff breaks down, he can take off and run, and he's a real threat right there. So, just having him back there, have full confidence that no matter what the defense does, we're going to have a viable option.
What's it been like for you where, a lot of times it's spread out wide, you got 4 or 5 wide receivers, but with you guys, you have 4 or 5 wide receivers, but 2 or 3 of them are tight ends or running backs. Like, what's that kind of been being in offense where you have 5 receivers, but there's only like 2 true wide receivers? How unique is that in where you've been?
Yeah, I mean, I came from Texas Tech, so we were 3, 4 receivers out there at all times. And, this offense is just so complex. I know it's making D coordinators' heads kind of spin just seeing like 3 running back sets, and then we'll spread them out and go empty out of it. So, it's just so complex. And Mac G's got such a great mind for offense. So, I mean, just having him back there and, he's going to draw some stuff up every week, and it's on us to go out and do it.
Then kind of regarding this week against Vanderbilt, what'd you learn from the Texas A&M game, road trip against an SEC team, big environment? What do you feel like you learned from that game that you can now apply to another road trip to another ranked SEC opponent?
Yeah, if you look at that second half, I feel like as an offense, we were a lot better in that second half. So just gaining the confidence, knowing that we can do it against teams on like a SEC team like A&M. So just gaining that confidence, just knowing that we can go into Vanderbilt, and if we just do our job and do our stuff, that we'll have a good shot.
You've already played in front of about 100,000 over at College Station against Texas A&M. What have you guys learned about in regards to communication with loud noise, like Vanderbilt will be, of course, and just things that you need to improve upon maybe to be able to get better communication if needed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is for everyone else, but when I'm on that field, I kind of block all the noise out. So, just like we need to tighten the huddle more. That's all it is. Just get closer to your brothers, increase volume and communication, be good with the snap count and all that type of stuff. And as long as we're just communicating and keeping that huddle tight, we're going to be just fine.
So Vanderbilt defensively is top 20 team in the country too. Looks by about 16 points a game for their opponents. Curious if you've had a chance to kind of dive into that, watch some film maybe on it, but kind of see what's made them effective on that side and what you can do to attack that.
Yeah, kind of what Noah said. We just started really diving into it today. I mean, they're a good team. That's obvious. So, they're going to do some stuff that maybe we haven't seen yet. And it's just, if we just do our job, it's all going to be just fine. If we go out there and we're kind of starstruck by the moment, then that's when things can fall apart. But if we just stick to our training and the process that we've been doing, we're going to be just fine.